The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
Welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. As we start off the day, we are down, let's call it 12 points on the S&P cash. Kind of an inside day compared to a lot of them in the last few weeks. Just over 2 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Tape. We gapped higher. We're kind of meandering a little bit lower. And we're watching Apple as news items keep dropping out about their dog and pony show. We'll talk about more about that now. It's off 51 cents. We'll talk about why probably the narrow trading range on Apple already. And maybe what I saw over the last week, which is very interesting. At least the reaction or the pre-reaction to the reaction to the show today. To Apple's show today. But in the meantime, not a lot to talk about. Boy, doesn't it? 11 points down seems to be rather tepid. Certainly not a lot of volume. Wasn't volume on the gap up today, and not extensive volume on the way down here today. I suspect that maybe we're getting very close to the holding pattern as we go into next week FOMC meeting. We are going to have a few earnings after the bell. In security, it is, PAWL, or what is it, PALW, and in the security space. But, there's not a lot going on in earnings. Pre-earnings or not pre-earnings, but pre-warnings will start next week also. And, of course, a little different FOMC meeting next week, and that is, of course, a Wednesday-Thursday meeting. If you hadn't thought about that, it is different than all the other ones we've had. Wednesday-Thursday, and of course, normally the two-day meetings are Tuesday-Wednesday. So I think it's going to be a little bit different as we head into that next week. But as always, it is time to start off the show with a little bit of history, because if you don't know your history, you are going to be forced to relive it.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is. And on this day in 1942, a Japanese float plane drops incendiary bombs on Oregon State Forest, the first and only air attack on the U.S. mainland in the war. And, of course, other than 9/11, whose anniversary comes up here on Friday. We'll talk more about that. I was talking to Andy Heck about it yesterday, who's probably going to talk about it at length tomorrow, I would imagine, during his show. And maybe he's calling to Tom O'Brien. But on 1942, launching from a Japanese sub at I-25, they made these special subs that kind of had like a dog house or cat house on top, and it could roll out a plane. He piloted his light aircraft over the state of Oregon and firebombed Mount Emily, and putting a state forest and ensuring his place in the history book as the only man ever to bomb the continental United States. But that didn't turn out so well for him at the end of all that. If you've watched any of the history, a lot of people think that the United States has got a lot of flaky people down here with flaky ideas. Occasionally you get the individual. Of course, they had an entire country that it went nuts. But they had individuals going nuts, too. They had this idea that they could firebomb most of the West Coast by putting up these balloons. And these balloons, when they started coming back down, as soon as they hit a certain altitude, would drop their bombs. They knew approximately when these things would fall. In fact, they recovered probably 10 or 15 of them, and almost all of them failed to work at all. But the idea was at least they were going to get that done. In fact, into the last week or two of the war, they were getting ready to try more of these new big submarines that would have 3 different airplanes on them that could bomb the West Coast and take at least some people that we had out there in the in the Pacific to bring back and defend the coast. But it was a little bit too late, and they actually had these planes painted to look like U.S. planes. And when the end of the war was called, they dumped these over the side rather than be shot as spies. But on this day in 1942, the only direct attack on the United States from a foreign country, at least by air. But I do digress. Of course, Apple's dog and pony is going on now. I think a lot of people were hoping for one big last thing. Apple is totally flat today. And the thought is twofold. We talked about Apple's biggest ability to maybe see weakness in the near future. One of that is, of course, that at least so that they can change the way that their books work, most of the cellular providers are no longer going to be including your new cell phone in their bill. They'll go split it out. If you have decent credit, they will just go ahead and put it on the bill for you. But it's going to show somewhere between $20 and $40 each month now for the cell phone. And a lot of people think that people are going to see that and every month go, do I really need a new smartphone? Of course, they've showed their new model off today. It has a better camera. It does not have a camera that I think, at least I haven't seen it in my hands, but at least pre-release and the live blogs tend to make people think it's a good camera, but maybe not as good as Samsung's latest camera. And other than just re-upping it and trying to drop some cost out of the build, it doesn't look like this new 6S is that big a deal for most consumers that have to have the latest and greatest from Apple. Basically fixes a lot of problems that they had with the previous model. And maybe one of the reasons why they're not yelling and screaming about it, because they think maybe people will be asking to turn in their old cameras that had, or old cell phones that had problems. And they had a lot of problems with the Model 6. Apple gets a fairly decent pass for a lot of these things in the press because the press is so enamored with Apple. But, you're going to have that additional $650 to $1,000 over a 2-year contract that's going to be labeled out, just kind of like your telephone bill. But, between that, they are, of course, showing a very large tablet. They're calling it the iPad Pro. It has a few things, but you can pretty much say that it is the exact same thing that, or at least from hardware, that pretty much Microsoft is going to be shipping almost at the same time. Both of these companies were waiting for the latest version of the Intel processor, and they've been kind of late. I think Apple may have wanted to show this Pro sooner. The reason it is not getting a lot of traction is because of the price. Most people don't think that most companies are going to pay $750 to, by the time you get a keyboard and a stylus for it. Yes, it comes with a little pin, much like the Surface from Microsoft. Anyway, you're basically talking about $1,000 PC, and it's going to be expensive. Now, the question is whether you would rather have a laptop, and I think the key to this is how many IBM can sell for them. They're basically building this hardware, going to put it on top of IBM's Office software and back office software, and try to sell this into the medical community. Will they make some money? The answer is yes. Will it sell anywhere close to the kind of volume that you see in the consumer iPhone business or even the original iPad business? And I think the answer is no. I think these are kind of a low volume devices, and at the price, fairly expensive. Of course, Microsoft's got its much rumored Surface 4 coming out. And from what I can see, at least all the rumors and the pictures from it, basically these things are fairly close, other than the fact that there's a keyboard that directly attaches to the Surface. And this one is some kind of cloth keyboard. I haven't seen enough of it yet to see what's going on. Apple's new TV system has a touch interface on it. And I don't know if that's going to be that big a deal. How many people want to walk up to the TV to actually do something? It's going to be up for debate. So I think we're probably going to see a lot more movement in Apple once the cheerleaders come out, and that will be after everything comes out. Today, everybody will give a collective yawn. Tomorrow, every shill will be pumping Apple. And of course, one of the reasons I would not short Apple here is, of course, you've got Carl Icahn, and he's been very good at manipulating the stock. I have not heard from him yet, which makes me think that he is getting ready. And it may be something after this, or a bunch of upgrades tomorrow, maybe later today. But I don't think we've heard the last peep from Apple. For me, this thing looks like it's going up to 115, probably into the big dog and pony from the FOMC people next week. From the people that brought you QE1 and 2, maybe QE3 and 4 and ad nauseum, don't know. But very little movement from Apple. But I said earlier in the show, or at least at the beginning, that I couldn't find any real dyed-in-the-wool Apple fan that was talking about buying the Apple 6S. And I think that is very significant compared to previous releases. And I think Apple even kind of laid off of it, knowing that probably a slightly better camera did not change what was going on. And if they pushed it too hard, a lot of people would say that the Samsung camera is actually probably better than the camera that is in this new 6S. And of course, this lays open one of the other big problems that Apple has, and that is that it depends on Samsung for most of the component parts, or a lot of the component parts, like screens and everything else. And of course, if Samsung wants it for theirs and not Apple's, all they have to do is say no. So Apple, of course, has put a bunch of people to work down in Austin, Texas. They bought up a lot of old office space for hardware manufacturing, which is big down in Austin, Texas. But they're working on the ability to build their own components, or a lot of components that other people will not have. But you got that, you got the stylus, you got the keyboard. You basically have Apple building a Surface and calling it a tablet. I don't know how well that works. A lot of mixed metaphors out here. I still think it's headed higher. I'm waiting for the cheerleaders to come out of the woods and start banging their drums, as they always do, and win.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Pesavento, Thinkorswim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're off 11 points on the S&P cash, 2.2 and just shy of 2.2 billion shares. So the volume is starting to rein in over the last few days. I suspect it will lighten up over the next week as we go into the FOMC meeting. Probably get light into that Wednesday and Thursday. Again, not many things out here in the way of earnings are going to be able to move this market. And we may have a few economic numbers that are coming out, but that's no big deal. Of course, commodities are taking it on the chin today. The dollar continues to strength at 96.14 on the dollar index. Has not been able to hold 96.30 or above that, but it really has not backed off very much either. Maybe what is making this market just a little nervous from the beginning. Of course, gold got down to about $1,100, and maybe a little off that now. But I wrote in my newsletter this morning that there is something very disturbing, and I don't know what it is. Normally, I've got some idea of what's going on, but certainly gold looks very nervous at these levels, and I would not be surprised to see a big gap and maybe down tomorrow and significant. But it looks like something is physically broken in that market, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. So not knowing what it is, I can't make a position long or short, but since it broke to the downside, I suspect that is an issue. I also suspect that because of the way that crude is moving, that this is more than just the movement of gold itself, but the continuing move of commodities. Again, 1106 right now, so we're off $14. Not a whole lot, other than the fact that this thing probably should have broken out and above the previous highs Silver is off 16 cents, no big deal, but it seems to be leading gold, at least in a little bit. $21 off on platinum. And of course, crude off $1.45, but really not holding the $45 level today is probably a fairly decent signal on crude too, and all commodities. That dollar index holding as strong as it has may be the gun to the head. Of course, if we had a little stronger volume out here, I probably would figure that maybe we tested the top and that's it. But I don't see anything in the way of true sellers coming into this market at the moment. But let me see other things. Anyway, you can give me a call at 877-927. What is it? I can't even remember my phone number. 877-927-6648. I have to say the whole thing. It's kind of like, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear David. Ah, there's my name. Okay. Anyway, if you have been living in a shoebox, it is Jim Chanos out. We talked about him yesterday. He basically said that he had a big short on Cheniere and their big foray into liquefied natural gas. Of course, just the mere mention of him going in and shorting something is enough to really get something like Cheniere moving. It's off right now about 5%, off about $2.78 at $53.97. But the downside to being somebody that has been shorted, or a company that's been shorted by Chanos, is that he's done all his homework. He does not make wild predictions. He does not say that the wheels will fall off today or tomorrow or even next week. He says, I'm going to be short 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it takes. Eventually, the fundamentals will prevail in this stock, and I will be there to collect it at a much lower price if I'm shorting or if I'm going long. But what we do have is significantly a very interesting call. I listened to his interview today on it, and he's basically just saying everybody decided they had to jump in when everybody else was jumping in, and there's way too much LNG capability. So this doesn't change the price so much of natural gas as all these companies that are going to be liquefying it. But there may be a play on this if I can figure it out or get it at the right level. Because of cheap LNG, maybe there is a side bet to go on this. Anyway, we're off 12 points on the S&P cash, 2.2 billion shares. So volume, I wouldn't say it's picking up. It's light. Probably going to get a lot better view in the last 30 minutes of the day of this show. Maybe bears get a little bit of light out here. And you kind of don't like it going up there, breaking above the highs and closing back into the trading range. But that doesn't mean it's broken out the bottom of the trading range. Maybe we're just stuck in this trading range for a while. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Give me a call at 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com or put a message in the den.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Off 13 points on the S&P cash, 2.2 billion shares of volume. Been kind of light for the last 5 points down. We'll see if any volume develops in it, but off 13 points. What else do we have going on? Netflix popped $8 this morning. It's still up just under $5 at $99.78. A lot of discussions about their rollouts seem to have popped a highly short stock. Someone said on the news today that it was 30% short. Seems rather dangerous for a stock like this. Probably not uncommon to see big swings of $5 up and down in this stock, or in this case, $8 almost at the highs today. It's a little off of it, but still up $5. Volume is good at 28 million shares. We'll take a look at the charts of this one and Shinry soon enough. Not a lot else going on, so let's go ahead and start getting into the charts today. A little early. And I will check my email here. I don't know. Yep, I got a couple, so we'll get to the emails also. First, LNG. Let's take a quick look at this. And, you know, it's kind of down at the bottoms. Basically, from his interview today, we can say that he's probably short somewhere around $65 or something. Looked like he'd been selling into this around that level for a while if you look at the chart. So I'm going to guess that that's where it was. He may be short at a higher level he was not short enough that he had to file, which tells you one thing. Of course, we've got volume. It does look like it's going to break out the previous low of August 24th out here, $54.50. That had 6.3 million shares. We already have 5.8 million shares, so easily going to do that. Is volume going to magically expand? I don't think so. You've got, let's go back just a little bit farther. But a fairly engaging argument as to the problems with Cheniere going forward, and that is that there's just too much supply for people going and liquefying natural gas. If we break this level, you've got a gap at 50 that would act as support. And of course, my guess is somewhere back into the $38, $40 range, which would take you back to the December 18th, 2013 high, if he is right. And as someone in the den said, he's been pretty spot on with his big short positions. He just is more than willing to sit on them for a very long time until he's either proven wrong, which is rare, or his theory works out. Of course, he was talking this morning on CNBC about sounding the bell in 2010 on China. Doesn't mean he has to short it, but does mean that he knows when he sees something that doesn't quite pass the smell test. And that's what he's been talking about for that. Quick look at Netflix and FLX. And a pretty decent little counter move here. Of course, we'll have to see what the volume is at the end of the day. But it had some decent volume yesterday, but it got into the candle where this thing really popped down on the 24th of August, and that did that with almost 60 million shares. Got into it with 43 million shares yesterday. So not going to be too surprised that we're in kind of a higher trading range out here in Netflix. I would love for this thing to come back up into that 120 range and then see the volume all come out before I reshort or would reshort this. I don't think the market is going to see the wheels fall off the wagon anytime soon. And I think we're just in the upper part of this trading range, which we've identified as 1930, maybe a little high on that side, maybe 1920 to 1970. And no volume really be as you get below 1930, and not a lot of volume when you get above 1970. So probably a tighter trading range as we go along in the next few days. And waiting for the FOMC meeting. What we got Netflix, we got the other one. What did I want to talk about besides that today? I think, no, that was not right. There we go. I just have to find the right thing out here. Yeah, it's just Netflix, when we were talking about it, is just South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Taiwan early next year. So, of course, they're going to continue to grow. Ryanair, which is one of these airlines which is very interesting, as it is trying to actually make money in Europe, which is, I think, making money over there and actually talking about it. Probably not a wise thing to do, but at least this, I think it's Irish-based, isn't it? I think it's based in Ireland, is actually a money-making deal. Who would have thunk it? Anyway, nice little pop out of here. Raised its fiscal year profits for 2015 by 25%. So they are going to be a major beneficiary of lower oil costs. But I think that they've got a few routes to the East Coast and mostly all of Europe over there, but seem to be doing the right thing, at least as far as I can tell. Other stocks that are kind of bucking the trend out here, FCX has popped up at least a little bit compared to, I guess, the rest of the market. Kind of important. But not a lot of volume out here. Of course, what we have from FCX today is the chairman bought 2.2 million shares of his own common stock. And, of course, there's a lot of reasons to sell, but only a few reasons to buy. And at least this has buoyed this stock a little bit during the day. Of course, the stocks that haven't done so well Of course, Gold Corp off a little more than 4% today. This thing is down and getting ready to test its previous low. It has not pierced the July 24th low, but it probably will, $12.35. If it remains so, then maybe you've got a bullish signal out here. Unfortunately, from looking at some other gold stocks, I've seen a lot of these stocks kind of jump the creek, at least for a little while. Doesn't mean that they won't come back into the trading range, but it does not look good down here at the lows to see these lows being tested. You got to thank God that it's on lower volume, but at this point, you really need to see this thing hold 1235 over the next few days and not see any kind of volume come in to Gold Corp. Lowered its 2015 gold production guidance at its one of its mines. $20 decline in gold futures, of course, also weighing on it. Other stocks in CXO, Conchito Resources, also in the space, not doing so well. Volume really hasn't picked up close to yesterday. You could make a case this thing is an ABC down. It certainly has two nice gaps, probably, and a lower low out here at 92.41 that look like it would probably want to be tested before you'd find one. Another stock in the gold sector, AEM, and just general market weakness out here. But this one, a little bit more volume than you would probably like to see. This one needed less than 4 million shares from the August 6th low. It is 29 cents above it, and it's certainly going to have a higher volume than the other. What I dislike about AEM is that the energy is actually increased, not hugely, but at least slightly more than the last leg up from August 6th to the August 20th high. This pullback down here, like I said, volume has picked up as it's gotten back into those lows. You wanted something like 2.5 million shares to make you feel good, warm and fuzzy, and have not gotten that. Basically, you're going to have higher volume, and how it tests at $21 is going to be very important, and I suspect you see that tested tomorrow. Let's see, what else do we have out here? AMW. It's beat its consensus EPS, but missed on revenues, and no one likes that. This, of course, on the suit and coat provider for gentlemen. And this thing has a nice gap out here. The gap started on March 12th of this year. Let's call it 5.4 million shares. We already have 5.2 million shares today. So we're going to say at least this entire gap is going to get filled. That gap goes all the way down to $48.04. So I'm looking for this to continue down at least to that level. Probably going to have at least some minor, if not decent, support at that level. But after today, kind of tough to make a bullish case for more suits. Momo, of course, we've been talking about these Chinese stocks kind of acting like maybe they'd made themselves or gotten themselves off the bottom. And of course, on this one, like a few of the others I've been talking about the last few days, very light volume tests of previous lows, August 24th. $10.71, 2.2 million shares. Got into it. It did prove the point. It went below the previous low. It closed back into the trading range yesterday, or the day before, excuse me. Kind of a little sideways action yesterday. Not a lot of volume today, but at least back into the trading range. And there wasn't a lot of volume as we went down to that low of August 24th, just 2 days ago. So back into trading range at least a little bit for this Chinese stock. Let's see, what else do we have out here? One more thing. Okay, just checking up. Got Apple stuff still going on out here. It's off $1.31. No big deal. Just kind of flailing around out here today. So we're off 15 points on the S&P cash. Volume has remained light during this show, at least, just 2.3 billion shares. So let's get to some of the stocks that I wanted to look at here. What were they? Come on, 1509, 08. Where's my 09? Where's it at? Well, I guess that would have been yesterday, wouldn't it? Okay, there I go. We talked about AEM. I think it was a few ones. Oh, we wanted to look at how GOLD was doing today, and that's Randgold Resources. This one actually came up on my scan. Volume pretty much matched the July 27th low just 2 days ago. The $57.06 with 1.2 million shares on the July 27th low. It pierced it, closed back in the trading range, but was just 100,000 shares light. It's kind of gone sideways out here again, still below that previous low. Volume has not picked up though, so maybe you're going to get a little kick out back here in these gold stocks, but that continues to be at least interesting. CDE, another one that I wanted to be watching out here and see how it reacted to gold pulling back. And, this one actually got back into the candle of August 7th at $2.66, 5.9 million shares. Got into it on the 4th with 3.6 million shares. So, but it didn't pierce that low. I think we're going to see this thing test that 266. And of course, the number you're looking at is 5.9 million shares. You'd like to see this thing come back in and pierce it with 3 million shares and get a nice view. But not bad out here, at least for Corda. It used to be Coeur d'Alene, just Core Mining now, Creve Core. Anyway, light volume on the downside out here. This one's one of the better looking stocks. AUY, another one out here testing previous lows. And this one, I think we talked about 2 weeks ago, where it pierced the previous low and did so on the same volume. Small bounce, you've back down. So it broke the volume with tide volume, but it really hasn't accelerated out here. You're down to 157.87 today. Excuse me, $1.57 with 8.7 million shares. But it's not really bouncing out here. So Yamana Gold still having some fairly significant weakness. I think this was one that somebody asked me about months and months ago, and I just never understood the idea that this one, and the chart probably looked the worst of the bunch of them. Wanted to see how Avago did today with Apple's news and see if they got any real big movement. I still think this Avago is probably going to come up and test the July 21st high. That's 136.38, so that we're back a little bit today. Probably not a big deal. Printing off at 155 on the S&P cash with 2.34 billion shares. So we'll look at that. But we're back here kind of at this resistance line for Avago. And pulled back a little. The volume's not all that exciting. But at the moment, Apple's off what, $1.22. Certainly looks like more muted moves than a lot of other things happening out there. We get back, we'll look at GDX, and gold seems to be probably one of the ones that's more interesting than others today out here as we look at a market that's off 15 points. When's the last time that was happened? Just off.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry, powered by the acclaimed with TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're looking at, let's take a look. A couple of names mentioned in the den, which is GDX. And, like I said, it's going to be the next 2 days that tell the tale. At least on GDX, you knew that you were probably going to get a retest of the low. It pierced the August 5th low at $13.01 that had 41 million shares. Did so on the 26th with 97 million shares. So you knew you were probably going to come back down here with the high volume on the 26th. Now, today, pretty light volume. So is this a ringing endorsement of gold making a bottom? The answer is no. As we've seen so much over the last month, a lot of these stocks have hit these lows and continued down. I would really like to see some kind of piercing of this 1267 and then a move back in with some kind of signal or gusto or sign of strength or something. I really just don't like the movement in the way that gold acted today. In fact, I wrote in my newsletter before gold even ever cracked that it seemed like something was wrong and I couldn't put my finger on it, and I still can't. There is something definitely going on in the commodities sector. I don't know if it's, and it's hard for me to say that it's the dollar index because this thing's been hovering around 96 bucks. It's basically flat on the day. It tried to go above the 96.30 level, but kind of like the market, as soon as you think that there's some momentum down or up, everything flips around on you. But dollar index is just a tick under 96 bucks at the moment. Maybe the Fed, maybe the Chinese have succeeded in tamping down the volatility, and we're just going to see these oscillations go on for a little bit longer. But we'll continue. Anyway, GDX, there was a few other ones that I wanted to look at. See if I can get my list up here. We had in the sector for biotechs, Clovis Oncology had some decent news, up almost 19% today. Several analysts out positive following the company's presentation at World Congress on Lung Cancer, saying that they've got something to really work something out on that. This went right up pretty much to the highs. Still needs a couple bucks more to get to the May 14th high. But I know a lot of people short these biotechs. It will not take much to move them one way or the other these days. WNR, another winner, chicken dinner, up 5% today. Western Refining upgraded, and I think a lot of people short these stocks. Doesn't take a lot to get moving out here, but it is up on a down day, and of course with crude off a little bit, also very interesting. We talked about Vago, AM, AEC. Wanted to look at that one before today's out. I wanted to look at that one before today, AAN. Aaron's Rents, which is very interesting to me because this thing made a huge high volume high on July 24th, sold off instantly, went back up and tested it on the 18th with 600,000 shares. Yesterday it went into it with 859,000 shares, but did not break the high. It is breaking the high today and pulling back into the trading range on 285,000 shares so far. So again, we've got a lot of these trading ranges setting up. They break the highs, they pull back in, kind of like the general market out here today. But I don't think if you can, at least so far, I'm not going to say that I've gotten any real big signals out here, either to the upside or to the downside. But I think we're going to move higher over the next few days and into the FOMC meeting. Are we going to just need a little time to build some steam? Maybe run some shorts before it is time to short again.
The TFNN End of Summer Tiger Dollar Sale is here. We've just announced our best Tiger Dollar Sale is back for 5 days only. This week, you can get up to a 40% bonus on whatever you spend when you purchase Tiger Dollars. Tiger Dollars are the best way to lock in added value and extra savings for any of your TFNN products or services. Normally, we only offer a 10, 15, or 20% bonus, but for this week only, we've doubled all our bonuses and are giving away 20, 30, and even 40% bonuses on all Tiger Dollar purchases. Tiger Dollars can be used for any TFNN product or service and never expire. So whether you're a subscriber already or planning on trying out a product soon, now is a perfect time to get your Tiger Dollars. For more information and to purchase your Tiger Dollars today, visit the front page of TFNN.com for all the details. Remember, this sale ends Sunday, so act now and don't miss out.
You're watching Tiger TV.